It's all about access. Hi everybody, today on At Your Leisure we will be talking about land access as we wrap up season 9 of the show. It's the most important thing that recreationists of the great outdoors have to deal with, is how do you access land to enjoy things that you like to do. We'll discuss it with Utah's top leaders at the state and federal level and find out what their opinion and their vision of the future is. Grab your notepads, get ready to take notes, and prepare to wrap up one of the best seasons of At Your Leisure ever. It's coming your way next. Hi everybody, welcome to At Your Leisure. Today I'm your host, Chad Booth. You know that it's been about 12 years since I first climbed on to a utility type ATV and started riding the trails. And we are just approaching the end of our 9th season of At Your Leisure, ready to start our 10th year of this unique form of outdoor programming. So usually when we have a season finale, it's a big deal. It's a big show. Well, today's is a big show too, but kind of in a different way. You know, one of the things that we have talked about all the years while we've been doing this program is land access. We've felt that it's been important to be involved in that debate. While some of the other outdoor shows have kind of steered away from it, and a little bit afraid of it, we know that it's important to make sure that both sides of the story are fully covered. You know, Utah's a big state. And for those of you who just think that this show is all about ATVs, you're not watching very closely, because we have done everything. We have tried to approach every wholesome outdoor activity imaginable, from kayaking to rappelling to backcountry hiking to fishing, to things that can grow the bond of family and good friendship. But we are not about to denigrate motorized recreation to a subclass standard. It's not. It is equal with everything else. And we've done our best to try and prove that point to you. And organizations that push that extreme point of view, folks, it's time for you guys to come to the table, roll up your sleeves, quit being crybabies, and get serious about finding a way for us all to enjoy recreation and protect our resources in a reasonable, responsible manner. To that end, our purpose today, our big show, is to talk about the things that lie in the future. And we are going to talk to the people that really know. We'll have a conversation with Senator Mike Lee, with Congressman Rob Bishop, and with Governor Gary Herbert of the state of Utah. Part of this conversation you need to be involved in. Whether you are in favor of motorized recreation or not, you need to understand the perspective across the board of recreation. And you need to be armed for that debate, or one side or the other is going to lose. And I certainly don't want it to be your favorite side. So let's get on to the show. Susan Wood asked the question, when you've got a city of 150 residents, what possible outdoor recreation opportunities can you provide? Well, that all depends upon where that city is. Susan will explain. Well, if you'd like more information about our travel adventure to Ruby's Inn, just go to the At Your Leisure website, AYLTV.com. Now, this is kind of a hard area. In fact, this is the one very hard area in the whole trip, and so it does require a little bit of attention. Well, the interesting thing about where we're headed with the state is how are we going to divide the different uses of the land? And how are we going to accommodate energy needs, mineral extraction needs, the things that make our state economy run, and still provide recreation experiences from wilderness to trail? Well, the guy that's kind of got his eye on that is the governor of the state of Utah, and I had a chance to talk with him a little bit earlier about that, Governor Gary Herbert.
I know that wherever we were at before, we're doing better now. I think we made a significant effort to bring divergent voices and different points of view together with our Balanced Resource Council. I think we've been able to keep industry alive in the state and still get permits to access our natural resources and our extraction industry. We are in fact involved in helping to protect those pristine areas that tourism and travel that we come to appreciate here in Utah, and approach it in a balanced way, one that everybody can feel good about. That's the message going on out there. Utah really is a great place to live, to raise a family, to do business. And I just want the people to know I'm very positive. I'm bullish on Utah. And if Utah was a stock, I'd tell you to go out and buy some.
Thank you, Governor Herbert, for taking the time to talk to us. We really appreciate it. I'm sure the audience appreciates it. We'll have more of At Your Leisure from Mineral Fork here in Big Cottonwood Canyon, the only remaining legal ATV trail in Salt Lake County. And when we come back, it'll be time for our product review. Ah, beautiful up here in the Big Cottonwood Canyon area. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We're on the Mineral Fork Trail. Right now it's time for us to do our product review we do every week. This time we're doing a little cooking. We've got a Camp Chef tip with Steve McGrath and our own Reagan Ledbetter. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We are at Mineral Fork. This is the only remaining ATV trail in Salt Lake, and we're doing our season finale talking about issues of public land here in the state of Utah. This is one of the reasons that this debate goes on. Mineral Fork is an old mining road. It's very historic. Salt Lake County abandoned their right to claim it as a road, and the Forest Service is now looking at creating a protective watershed or a wilderness area here in the canyon. While this does not qualify as wilderness because there's an existing road, it would be included. Well, it's because the water, which is part of Salt Lake City's watershed, flows down and crosses the stream in a couple of places. It's really very beautiful. But the question remains, who should be making that decision? Is it the federal government, or are the decisions about what to do with water quality and land more of a state decision? Well, we asked that question to Senator Mike Lee, and he had some very interesting thoughts on it.
It was always contemplated that following statehood, our federal public lands would be sold off, perhaps with a few exceptions here or there as might be needed for military bases or something like that. But it certainly was not contemplated by the founding generation that you'd have upwards of 70% of the land within a particular state being owned by the federal government, certainly not without the consent of that state.
There are some who say, well, they will protect the land better and they're paying for the infrastructure.
I don't know how they can make that claim when 70% of our land is owned by the federal government and always has been. They should give us a chance, us meaning Utahns, to actually manage the land. And then maybe they can make that argument if they want to. But I don't see that we've been given a chance to prove them right or wrong on that point. This is our land, this is our state. Those lands ought to be managed by people who live here, who are from here, who have a vested interest in that land.
We'd like to thank Senator Lee for taking the time to talk to us about that issue. Right now we're off to Kane County. Now those of us who have been involved in ATVs and Jeeps and multiple use know Kane County is kind of the battleground for land access and local control. But to the rest of the world, Kane County is famous for one thing, the movies of the Old West. You know, there's a new breed of movie maker that's revisiting Kane County, and it may have a rebirth. As Kelly said, the winner gets to have their movie put on At Your Leisure, and you'll be seeing that in a couple of weeks. Now, if you'd like to get involved in the film festival, you can go to the At Your Leisure website, AYLTV.com, and find out more about it. If you have a comment, you're always welcome to tell us what's on your mind on our Facebook page, which is At Your Leisure-AYL, and tell us what you think. That's the place to do dialogue. You're seeing more and more of these. The road is closed. There used to be a road here, but not anymore. So when the sign says road closed, whether you think it's fair or not, whether you think it's right or not, whether you think it's just or not, it is closed. And we serve no purpose for either side of this debate to ignore those signs, tear them down, pretend like they're not there, or vandalize them just because we're upset about it. There's a proper way to deal with things. But don't think that it's hopeless, and don't think that that's the only way you can deal with it. As a matter of fact, Congressman Rob Bishop thinks that there's a fair amount of hope for the future.
No, there is hope. I think people have got to realize that the lands have a purpose for human beings. And that people have to realize that actually multiple use of land is one of the better sources. And I think we've hit a roadblock where all of a sudden people are realizing that some of the practices that we've done in the past that block up the land have not necessarily been helpful. They haven't been helpful for forest health. They haven't been helpful for species habitat, and they haven't been helpful for preventing fires. So I think it's happening. But it's going to be a slow process. We didn't get to the situation we're in overnight. It's not going to change overnight either. And the idea that you can protect the land and use land and develop it and allow people to enjoy the benefits of that land is not a foreign concept. It's something that we have lived with all our lives, and we know how to deal with it. I just want more of the West to be able to control their own destiny. If you can do that, I think we'll be better off.
It's always a delight to hear Congressman Bishop talk. He's so optimistic about things, and he's got such a clear vision of how things should work. Well, stay with us. We'll be back with more of At Your Leisure, our season finale here at Mineral Fork, the only remaining legal ATV trail in Salt Lake County. When we come back, we will be talking about our calendar of events, and we'll take on the issue of wilderness. Welcome back to At Your Leisure. We're at Mineral Fork here, just crossing the stream. And we want to thank all of the people who have taken the time out of their busy schedules to talk about land access. I know that our leaders think this is a very important issue, and they want to make sure that you get the information that you need. As we wrap up the show and the end of 9 years, I want to make a couple of observations about wilderness. This is an important issue to me. I love places like this, and I think that we should have unspoiled places. But we're talking about more and more wilderness designations. In fact, the Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance is pushing for the Red Rock Wilderness Bill. The Red Rock Wilderness Bill would take 9.5 million acres and add it to the 2.5 million we already have. It would mean over 20% of this state would become wilderness areas. 20%, which means that you would not have access, if you were a rancher, to do any grazing because you couldn't go in and round up your herds. Some places there would be restrictions on horses because of invasive weeds and things that horses create, so those would be off limits. No motorized recreation. You couldn't take a mountain bike. You couldn't pull a wagon. We couldn't even bring you stories from wilderness areas because video cameras are considered a mechanical device which is not allowed in a wilderness area by the interpretation of the current law. So if you want those kind of restrictions across 20% of your state, and you think that you have a month to hike across the San Rafael Swell, which is probably what it would take, then bring on the wilderness. Personally, I think there's a better way to protect our resources, the natural beauty and state of things, and still allow for a range of access that accommodates more people. Well, we've got some things coming up. I want to tell you about one in particular. Ray City is having a customer appreciation event down on the Paiute ATV trail system in Marysvale, Utah. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. Go to our website and check it out. You can sign up on our website for the event, or you can go to Ray City's website and find out more information there. Well, thanks for watching. We've enjoyed having you along with us for the last 9 seasons. If you've just discovered us, then make it a habit to watch us in the future. We'll be along with our season premiere in a couple of weeks. In between, we've got some of the best of shows from the last year. You can recapture some of your favorite highlights. So between now and the next time that we get together, make sure that you get out with your family and friends and enjoy the great outdoors at your leisure. We'll see you then. The task here. I got to do this again. I got a bad approach.